Hi, folks. This is Pastor Sarah, the pastor at Zion United Church of Christ. Welcome to our February Scripture Challenge in 2023. For this Scripture Challenge, we are reading through the Gospel of Matthew. We're going to read all 28 chapters in 28 days. That means we're just going to be doing one chapter a day, and that's not very much, but this challenge is designed to help us build that habit of daily scripture reading. If you are joining us for our journey, we invite you to download the worksheet that we have created for our scripture challenge. If you worship with us in person, you probably picked one up Sunday morning. If you get our mailing through USPS, you should have received one in the mail already. If you worship with us online, you are invited to download our Scripture Challenge worksheet either through the email you got from us if you get our emails, or you can also go to our website at zionuccindy.net. A link to download a PDF of our worksheet is on our homepage, so you don't have to look for any special tab. It should be just right there on our homepage for you to download. I have mine on my tablet to save a little bit of paper, so this is what our handout looks like. On it, you will find some key things to look for while you're reading through the Gospel of Matthew. There's a little bit about Matthew's audience, about the context in which the Gospel of Matthew was written. All four of the Gospels are quite unique. Matthew is one of the Gospels we call the Synoptic Gospels. Matthew, Mark, and Luke all have material in them that are very similar. And so they have a lot of in common. John is kind of out there on its own. But Matthew was written for a particular audience. We think of it as the Jewish Christian gospel. The traditions of the Jewish faith are so important in understanding the Gospel of Matthew. There are lots of references to different festivals and a lot of the Hebrew scriptures, the Old Testament scriptures, the law and teachings, the prophets, the histories are referenced in Matthew's gospel. So be on the lookout for those kinds of things. That long history that God had with the people of Israel is so important in understanding Matthew's portrait of Jesus and how he is a continuation of God's work in this world. As you go through this challenge, I do want to encourage you to use a study Bible while you are doing this. There's lots of great study Bibles out there that have commentary and the footnotes that help you understand the historic context of the scriptures. Oftentimes, they might have an introduction to each book of the Bible that give that kind of information on your handout, the background, the audience, that kind of thing. My go-to study Bible is the HarperCollins Study Bible. This is the New Revised Standard Translation. I enjoy this translation quite a bit. This is the study Bible that I had for my college classes and my seminary classes. It has some really great insight in the footnotes and in the book introductions. It's a little bit more of a scholarly study Bible, so some of the footnotes can get a little bit complicated, but they do offer some really wonderful insights. Another study Bible that I have been enjoying a lot lately is the Common English Bible Study Bible, the CEB Study Bible. This is a newer translation. It translates scriptures into a little more modern language, so it's easier for us to understand. And the introductions and the footnotes and the commentary in the text in this study Bible are fantastic. I really, really enjoy it. I like this translation of the Bible as well. I want to share with you also another thing that has been quite popular lately. Part of my spiritual practice is journaling, and that's something that's really important to me. And so there are now Bibles that have these very wide margins in them so that you can journal and write your thoughts and your prayers and doodles while you are reading the scriptures. And I like that idea of having those thoughts and things right beside the text. Of course, you don't have to go out and buy a whole new Bible in order to do that. You can use a book, a notebook, or a scrap piece of paper to do those exact same things. I just like that it's all contained here in one place. Another resource that I wanted to share for you, this was a Christmas present from my parents actually. It is the First Nations version of the New Testament. This is something that is becoming more popular for particular communities to do their own translation of the scriptures and to use language that is meaningful for their own cultural context. As so many of my teachers and educators for Bible classes and things have reminded me, all translation is interpretation. So whenever someone sets out to translate the scriptures, they are bringing their own cultural perspective, their own context, their own experience into their choices as they translate the scriptures from those original languages. And so more communities are translating the scriptures in ways that are meaningful for their culture and their context. So I really, really like this First Nations version. It gives a lot of insight and is just a really beautiful poetic translation. If you happen to have multiple translations of the Bible handy, I do encourage you to take a look at a couple of those while we are doing this scripture challenge. If you don't have physical copies, you can always go online. Bible Gateway, for example, has a menu so you can pick through tons of different translations and you can compare how different folks have translated and interpreted the text. I think it's a really interesting practice to look across a few different translations to see what insight you gain based on the particular words that folks use. There are some interpretive, translative choices that folks make that really change your understanding of the scripture. So it can be helpful to have multiple versions. I think that's all that I want to share with you as we get started on this journey. I am so glad that you are joining us for this. I hope it is meaningful and enriching. As we go through each chapter, there will be a set of daily reflection questions for you to think about. One of them is going to be to write down a word or phrase that stands out to you. It's the back side of your handout, your worksheet. And hopefully by the end of this journey, we'll see some kind of theme that emerges from the Gospel of Matthew. Maybe there are particular things that God is speaking to you through the scriptures in this season of your life. So I can't wait to hear how this journey goes for you. Do comment on our Facebook videos, our YouTube videos, share your experience, what stands out to you, your answers to our daily reflection questions, and hopefully we can have some good conversation along the way as well. Welcome to our February Scripture Challenge at Zion United Church of Christ in Indianapolis. I am so excited for this journey.